So good afternoon, everybody. Today we will discuss about the turning moment diagram. Uh, this would be the second lecture of turning moment diagram. We already studied some of its parts in the first diagram, first previous lecture. So let's revise that quickly. So turning moment diagram, which is also known as crank effort diagram, it is nothing but a graphical representation of the turning moment of the crank at various positions of crank. And the crank rotates, it produces the torque, and it does not gives a constant value of torque. Okay, the value of torque keeps increasing and reducing as per the uh, position of the piston and the other moving parts. All right, so different amounts of torques are produced uh, at different positions. So in order to study that, we plot this turning moment diagram, and in which the torque is on the y-axis, and the angle turned by the crank, that is theta, it is plotted on the x-axis. And between these two, when we plot the diagram for a single cycle, now that cycle can be of either uh, two crank revolutions, or that cycle can be of one crank revolution. Okay, it can be of any type, which we'll discuss in the lecture. All right, so if we read the definition again, a turning moment diagram is a graphical representation of the turning moment against various position of the cranks. Okay, so this is a simple definition. So this we already saw in the last class. Now uh, this thing we also discussed, that we have to study three types of turning moment diagrams. The first one is double acting steam engine, second one is four stroke IC engine, and third one is multi-cylinder engine. In the previous class, we saw the diagram and understood the diagram of double acting steam engine. Let's revise that also quickly. So this is the diagram what we saw, that uh, the torque which is plotted on y-axis, and that theta angle is plotted on the x-axis. All right. So one complete cycle of this double acting steam engine gets completed in one revolution of crank, and one revolution it turns from 0 degree to 360 degree, right? 360 degree denotes the one entire revolution of the crank. So in this crank one revolution of crank, we get two positive loops. This is what is written over here. We get two positive loops. And how we get two positive loops, we already saw in the previous class. We discussed about the arrangement of piston and inlet and exit valves of a steam engine, right? So I hope you remember that. So this is what we saw, uh, and we discussed about this T mean, that is mean torque. Here it is T max, it is maximum torque, maximum value of torque. So this FP is piston effort. We discussed in the kinematic analysis. Radius of the crank is denoted by R. N, I hope you remember what N was. N was nothing but the ratio of length of connecting rod to the radius of crank. This was N, right? Then theta is angle turned by the crank. So these are few of the terminologies. So what this theory is saying, from this expression, we see that the turning moment diagram T is 0 when the crank angle is 0. Now, if you watch closely in this diagram, the 0, crank angle 0, that is theta is equals to 0, is at point A. And at this point A, the value of torque is also 0, right? Now, as we gradually increase the angle of the crank, that is, as the crank starts rotating, that is, piston is pushed from top dead center to bottom dead center, the value of this torque which is being developed gradually increases as the angle of the uh, crank turning is also increased. Okay, so you can see at 90 degree, when the theta is 90 degree, we get the maximum value of torque, this T max. All right, and this is denoted by point B. So the as the crank further rotates till 180 degree, the value of the torque starts decreasing from T max to again 0. At 180 degree, you can see the value of torque is 0. All right. So this is one loop which is obtained in uh, half revolution. Half revolution means from 0 to 180 degree. 0 to 180 degree if we plot, so we go from 0 to 180 degree. All right. This represents half revolution of the crank. So in half revolution of the crank, we already got one power stroke, and this power stroke is denoted by the loop a, small b, and small c. This loop denotes the power stroke of double acting steam engine. Okay, first power stroke. Now, when the crank starts rotating from 180 degree, again at when it reaches 270 degree, you can see at point D, the value of torque is maximum. So at 180 degree, it started from 0, and at 270 degree, it reached till maximum value of torque, that is T max. Okay, then again, when it further rotates from 270 to 360 degree, this torque again comes back to 0. Okay, so again this second loop, that is second power stroke, is denoted by the graph CDE. Okay, all right. So these are the two positive loops which we obtain in a double acting steam engine. And mind that these two positive loops are in a single cycle, in a single crank rotation. All right, like in IC engine, four-stroke IC engine, the crank has to rotate two times. That is, there are two revolutions in which one complete cycle is in which it executes one complete cycle. But in double acting steam engine, we get one complete cycle in 360 degree only. Okay, in one complete revolution of the crank. Okay, so I hope this is clear. This is what I just explained is written in theory over here. That is, for the above expression, we see that the turning moment is 0 when the crank angle is 0. Crank angle theta is 0. Okay, and it is maximum when the crank angle is 90 degree. See, when the crank angle is 90 degree, the value of torque, it is T max, maximum. Okay, and it again becomes 0 at when the crank angle is 180 degree. So at 180 degree, it is 0. All right, so we already discussed. Now this is shown by the curve ABC in the figure. Where is curve ABC? Small ABC. This is A. Here it is B, and here it is C. Okay, so this first power stroke is denoted by this curve ABC. All right, and the curve CD is the turning moment diagram for in stroke and somewhat similar to ABC. Where is CD? This is C, this is D, and here it is E. So this second curve is denoted by CDE. All right. Now one other thing which comes into picture is this T mean line. The T mean, what it is the mean torque. Okay. So for every particular angle, the value of torque is different. Like at 0 degree, the value of torque is 0. Let's say at 45 degree, okay, 45 degree or 60 degree, the value of T torque is equals to mean torque. Okay, for let's say at 75 degree, the value of torque might be something here, value T. All right, so at every instant, we get different values of torque. But for working, for practical purpose, we need a mean value of torque so that we can do the calculations easily. So we draw a straight line, all right, which is denoted by AF, and we say that this is the mean torque. So when the uh, the value of our torque, it is above this T mean line, that is above this AF line, we say that the torque is positive or the work is done by the system. And when the uh, torque value of torque is below this T mean line, we say that work done is negative, that is work is done on the system. All right. So I hope this is clear. This is further explained in the theory in the next slide. So let's move on to next slide. All right. See, here you can clearly see that since the work done is the product of the turning moment and the angle turned. See, in what is work done? When there is a linear motion, the work done is denote. We calculate the work done by a simple formula. That is, work done is equals to force into displacement, right? So that formula is used in case of linear motion. But here we are dealing with the angular motion. So the force will be replaced by the turning moment, that is torque, and the linear displacement will be replaced by the angular displacement, that is theta. All right. So the work done will be equal to the turning moment multiplied by the angular distance moved, that is theta. And in case of graph, when we plot the graph, how do we get the work? Work done. Work done is nothing but the area under the curve. Area under this curve. All right. Area under this curve denotes the work done. Now, in thermodynamics, you might have studied two types of work done. One is positive work, another one is negative work. Uh, when it is called positive or negative, when the work is done by the system, when the work is done by the system, it is called as positive work. Okay. When the work is done by the system, since system is doing work, so we are getting something in the output, so it is favorable for us. That's why it is called positive work. And the when the work is done on the system, right? When work is done on the system, that is, we have to give some input to the system. We have to give some work input to the system. That is when we call it as a negative work. Okay, because we have to uh, spend our own energy in order to give some work to the system. All right. So this is what it is saying here, that turning moment diagram represents the work done per revolution. So in one complete revolution from 0 to 360 work, 0 to 360 degree, this area under the curve represents the work done. All right. So we can, if we want to know how much of work is done by the system, we can calculate the area under this curve. All right. Now, in actual practice, here I'm reading this. In actual practice, the engine is assumed to work against the mean resting torque as shown by the horizontal line AF. See this mean T mean. This we already discussed in the previous slide. Okay, and the height of the ordinate AA represents the mean height. Okay, this ordinate means y-axis, and the other term for uh, against this is abscisca. Abscisca is known as x-axis. Okay, so don't get confused about with this new terminology. So this distance AA, small a to capital A, this distance, it is saying that this is the amount of mean torque. Okay, since it is assumed that the work done is a turning moment per revolution, work done by the turning moment per revolution is equals to the work done against the mean torque. So what they are trying to explain over here is they have drawn a mean line, mean torque. Okay, so the area under this curve, that is this rectangular area, small a, capital A, F, E. So this area, the area of this rectangle is they have drawn the mean line at such a place such that this entire area is equal to the area which is under the curve ABE. Let me draw it with a different color. The area under ABC, small a, small b, small c, and this area small d, small c, small d, small e. what they are saying is that they have drawn a line T mean such that this rectangular area A, capital A, F, E is equals to this area which I am hatching with red color. That is area under the curve ABC plus area under the curve CDE. All right. So this what they are trying to explain is that these two areas are equal. That is area under ABC plus area under CDE. That is this red color portion. This area added together is equals to the area, this purple hatching you can see, that is this rectangular area, right? These two areas are equal. Okay, this is how we need to draw the T mean line. Okay, that's why since it is easy to calculate rectangular area in contrast to this curvature area. Okay, so they have they have drawn the T mean line at such a place that these two work dones are equal. So that's why it is very significant. All right. Okay. So few notes are given. When the turning moment is positive, that is the engine torque is more than the mean racing torque. All right. Turning moment is positive. What they are saying is when the torque is above this mean line, we are considering it as positive torque. All right. That is from point B to C. This is point B. Let me clear this first. So this is point B and this is point C. All right. So what the note 1 is saying is this area, this is positive. Okay. And also this area from point D to point E. So these area which are above the T mean line. Okay. These areas are positive. This is what is meant by this note 1. All right. Okay. So these two areas are positive. Okay. And when the turning, I'm reading the second note now. When the turning moment is negative, that is when the engine torque is less than the mean racing torque, as shown in figure, as shown between points CD. So this area, this is C and this is D. So what they are saying is this much of torque is negative. Okay, this is negative. Also, if you see, this is negative. So work uh, the area of this rectangular curve, that is A, F, E. Whatever diagram, whatever is above the uh, mean line, it is positive, and whatever is below the mean line, it is negative. All right. Now what they are saying is if T is the crankshaft at any instant, let's say at any given instant means let's see, I want to calculate the torque at position of the crank when the theta value of theta is 190 degree. So 190 degree would be somewhere over here. So when I plot it on the curve and project it on the y-axis, I'll see that the value of torque at 190 degree is this T1. Okay, T1. So let T be the torque on crankshaft at any instant, and T mean is the mean racing torque. T mean, we already discussed what is T mean. All right. So then the accelerating torque on the rotating part of the engine is given by T minus T mean. Okay. Now when the value of this T minus T mean is positive, when the value of this T minus T mean is positive, the engine will try to accelerate. Okay. That is when the value of torque is greater than this T mean torque. Okay. So let's say at 80 degree, I calculated the torque with the help of this diagram, and it is coming out to be somewhere over here. That is T2, let's say. Okay. So when we are considering a crank position 80 degree, we calculated T2 and we keep the value of over here T2 over here. Okay, and T mean, since it is less than T, this value will come out to be positive. So what they are saying is, when the value of T minus T mean is positive, the flywheel accelerates. That is, the speed of the vehicle will tend to increase from a constant speed. It will tend to increase when the value of T minus T mean is positive. Similarly, when the value of T minus T mean is negative, it will this T1. We keep the value of T1 over here at this place, T1, and since T mean is greater than T1, this entire value will come out to be negative. Okay, so when this value is negative, then the flywheel retards. That means if the value of torque is less than the mean torque, it's the vehicle will tend to deaccelerate or retard. All right. So I hope this is clear to you. So in a nutshell, let me summarize this. When the value of torque is above the mean line, all right, the mean line, then it's uh, when the value of torque is above the mean line, the vehicle will accelerate, and when the value of torque is less than the mean torque, the vehicle will deaccelerate. Okay, so if you try to convert this into this real world, right? This is what is obtained in the IC engine. So you can say that since the torque is increasing or decreasing at every instant, the speed of the vehicle will also increase and decrease all the time. But when we drive a vehicle, we do not encounter this all the time. The speed is a constant speed. Okay, we can control it by the help of accelerator. Okay, the speed do not increases or decreases every moment. Okay, so how this fluctuation of energy is controlled, that is how this T mean is achieved. This is achieved by help of the flywheel. Okay, how it works we will study in the next lecture, how it is done. Okay, so I hope this single cylinder double acting steam engines turning movement diagram is clear to you. In the previous class we only discussed this diagram, I only explained the diagram. In this lecture we discussed this theory also. Okay, now this is the first thing which we discussed, that is double acting steam engine. Let's look at this four stroke IC engine now. Now this four stroke IC engine, as you can see, this is the simple diagram. This diagram you might have seen in your BME also, basic mechanical engineering in first year. Okay, so let's quickly discuss this. You can see that here the angle turned by the crank is varying from 0 degree to 4 pi degree. See, in the previous case, that is double acting engine, the value was changing from 0 degree to 360 degree. That is 2 pi. But in this case, four stroke IC engine, the value is varying from 0 to 4 pi. That is 720 degree. 720 degree means the crank has to revolve 2 times to complete one cycle. In previous case, one complete cycle was completed in single revolution of crank. But here, crank has to revolve 2 times. That is, 2 revolutions of crank are required to complete one cycle. All right. So you already studied this. There is a suction stroke, compression stroke, then there is power stroke, and this is exhaust stroke. All right. So in suction stroke, we have to provide the we need to provide some work on the system. So when the work is provided on the system, when we input the work to the system, see we get this negative loop. Okay, but one can say that why is this positive loop till pi? Okay, the pi means 180 degree. 180 degree means the piston has moved from top dead center to bottom dead center. All right. So one suction stroke. See, you can see that suction stroke is from 0 to pi. So theoretically, 0 to pi, it should have this whole negative loop, because we are providing the work to the system so that the piston can move down, and it can suck the charge that is air fuel mixture in the cylinder. But here you can see that there is a small negative loop, and then there is a small positive loop. This positive loop is the result of inertia, because when we kick start the vehicle, right? For to starting the vehicle, you have to apply the kick, or you give the force by pressing the button, right? In the self start vehicles, we push the button so that motor turns the crank. This turning of crank, it is nothing but we are giving the work to the system. So it should have been negative, but a small positive loop is created, because when the gases are when the gases enter in the when the piston moves down from top dead center to bottom dead center, it creates a vacuum inside the cylinder. Now when this vacuum is created, vacuum is negative pressure, and outside the cylinder there is atmospheric pressure. So atmospheric pressure is higher pressure and vacuum is lower pressure. So automatically the charge will flow from higher pressure to lower pressure. So it will initially we push the piston a little bit. Okay, so there this work is done, and then because of inertia, the piston itself moves till the bottom dead center. So let's say the piston we start cranking at 0 degree angle. After moving, let's say 100 degree, the inertia of piston is so much that it automatically goes till bottom dead center. That is till angle pi. Okay, therefore this positive loop. Now after the suction stroke, what happens? The piston starts moving from bottom dead center to top dead center. In that case, the charge is already inside the cylinder and the now inlet valve is closed. And when the piston moves upward in the compression stroke, what happens? The charge which has came inside the cylinder gets compressing. So to compress that, we need to provide so much of work to the system. That is, we need to give work to the piston in order to move it up so that the gases get compressed. So this work is done by us. Therefore, there is a negative loop. All right. Now, after the compression is done, the spark plug generates the spark, and there is a spark. After the plug generates the spark, the gases inside gets burned. Okay, so when they burn, they expand, and they push the piston from top dead center to bottom dead center, and this positive loop is obtained. Why? Because work is done by the system. The system see gases are expanding and pushing the piston downward, so we are getting some output from the system. Therefore this is a positive loop. Okay, again after the power stroke or the working stroke is done, we need to push those gases outside the cylinder. So when those gases are pushed out, again we need to do some work. So we push the piston upwards. So from bottom dead center to top dead center, we try to push the piston. So some amount of work is required from our side. So work is done on the system. Therefore, there is this negative loop. But again, due to inertia, the piston keeps moving until it reaches the top dead center. So again, there is this inertia effect is taken into account. So this is how the turning moment diagram of four-stroke IC engine is created. Again, we can see there is a T max, maximum torque, and there is a T mean line. All right. So here we draw the T mean line. So I hope this is clear. And let's go to the next slide. This whatever I explained you is simply given is simply written in the form of theory over here. All right. Hmm. Right, this line is noted. It may be noted that the effect of inertia uh, force on the piston is taken into account. This positive loops, small positive loops, are nothing but the uh, inertia effect. All right. So we completed this two turning moment diagrams. That is double acting steam engine, four-stroke IC engine. Let's discuss multi-cylinder IC engine now. All right. So this multi-cylinder IC engine is very easy. It is a different type of turning moment diagram for a compound steam engine having 3 cylinders, whose resultant turning moment diagram is shown in figure. This is the diagram you can see. The diagram is the summation of turning moment diagram of 3 cylinders. If you closely see that there are three different types of line. One is this blue colored solid line. Okay. Another one is this dotted line, red colored, and other red colored dotted line is this chain line. Okay, there is some straight line, then point, then straight line, then point. Okay, so this is for cylinder 1, this solid line. This dotted line is for cylinder 2, and this chain sort of line is for cylinder 3. And this cylinder 1 is high pressure cylinder 3 is lower pressure, and cylinder 2 is intermediate pressure cylinder. The cranks in the case 3 are usually placed at 120 degree to each other. Now, what is meant by that? If the suction stroke of this cylinder 1 is